Good afternoon, all of you. Welcome to EduTap and welcome to this ACE answer writing session for RBI Grade B Phase 2 examination. Before we discuss anything further, just let me know in the chat section if the audio and video all are clear for you. If you can listen to me properly, you can hear me properly, and the board is clear, the writing on the board is clear to you, just let us know in the chat section, or you could even, just write good afternoon or a thumbs up. And then we can proceed with today's lecture. We can start studying, we can start preparing for our phase 2 examination. All right. So all the students who are live, welcome. All right, Jacqueline, all right, Sunil. So I think all the students who've been following this regularly know the protocol. All right. Again, extending a very warm welcome to all of you. So today we are beginning management part of our discussions. We have held discussions for separate answer writing structure. Good afternoon, Khushbu. And we've had discussion for ESI, finance, and now we are at the last component, that is management. So quickly, let's begin and see what is it. Also, if you are one of those people who do not have the right content with you, then definitely buy this live crash course, which has live classes with the expert faculty there. You will also be provided with short notes in case you are lacking with content. These short notes will help you write a lot better and attempt the paper in a very better format. Then you have mind maps to remember the information easily. Then all this information is supplemented with current affairs as well. It's completely updated. Amalgamated with this crash course is the test series that you have to take in the simulated environment that we provide, which is very much or almost the same as RBI Grade B Phase 2 examination. And finally, the evaluation of test is done. You get a flat 50% off at this live crash course. If you feel that you just need some mock test to evaluate yourself, then definitely buy these test series provided by EduTap for ESI objective and descriptive, finance management objective and descriptive, and current affairs, and separately full-length mock test. All right, check the link in the description for all these subscriptions and for buying all these courses. We always start our discussions on a very positive note, and the positive note is that you can write great answers. Just have faith in yourselves. Keep watching these discussions, keep going through the answers that we are giving to you in the PDF format, and I'm sure that on the final day of the examination, you will definitely be able to replicate the right structure and the right content you'll be able to produce there, and express yourself in the best possible way out there, which gets you very good marks. So yes, the plan has been shared with you earlier as well. We started on July 14. Today we are here at management. We have covered all the components and management is the last component left. So today and the next 2 days, that is Thursday and Friday, would be allocated to the management part of your syllabus since it's quite lengthy. And yes, ESI is done, English is done, and finance and management. Here we are on the descriptive part. So let's, all of you, just keep your keyboards very handy. Make sure that you're comfortable with typing side by side, because I'll be prompting you a lot to write the answers or to write a part of the answer. And today it's going to be a simple discussion. We are just taking 2 topics. The first one is management and the second is leadership. This is a part of your syllabus. So management, its nature and scope, the management processes, planning, organization, staffing, directing and controlling, the role of a manager in an organization. So these are basically general topics. I'm sure that if you go through them even once, you'll be able to tackle them, you'll be able to write about them very nicely in a very polished manner. The second one is leadership, the tasks of a leader, leadership styles, leadership theories, a successful leader versus an effective leader. So basically, again, very general topics, but there are some important theories associated with management and leadership. So we will try to take those questions, those those technical questions we'll try to take. And in the coming 2 days, we'll also take some philosophical questions, and I will tell you how to approach and answer philosophical questions justifiably. Just remember the 4-step approach that we've been taking to write our answers. The first one is to identify the topics in the question, that is keywords. And secondly, identify the qualifying words in the question, which is the opinion of examiner, whether he feels good or bad about a particular topic. The next step is recognize the directives, whether it is a discuss question, explain, justify, do you agree, disagree. Just identify the directive and answer accordingly. The third one is framing micro questions. We do this to understand all parts of the question clearly so that we can answer each and every part very well. Finally, what we do is we write a structured answer that constitutes your introduction, body paragraph, and conclusion. Now moving on, do download the PDF for this lecture. After this discussion, the PDF contains this answer blueprint that you're provided exclusively by the EduTap team, and it also has some additions and important points regarding various parts of your answer. So definitely check that out. Now let's begin writing our answers, and here are the questions for today. So first of all, the question is for 400 marks. The first question: briefly describe the three types of leadership, that is autocratic, democratic, and delegative. Answer for 400 words for 10 marks. The second question is: management may take a number of actions to resolve conflict in the organization. Explain these actions. Again, answer in 600 words for 15 marks. So let's take question number 1 first. How many of you know that who has given this leadership theory which characterize leadership into three types: autocratic, democratic, and delegative? Do you know anything about these three types of leaderships, or do you know that who gave this model of three types of leadership? Let me know in the chat section. All right. The person or the philosopher or the academician behind giving this three types of leadership model. Any one of you? If you don't know the answer, just yes, Kurt Lewin. All right. Okay, Roshan, that's right. That's right. Singampalli Srinu, she doesn't know it. He or she doesn't know it. That's fine. That's fine. Yes, Jacken, that's right. That's fine. For those of you who do not know, just keep yourself very active throughout this lecture. It's going to be very simple. I hope you understand the meaning of these words: autocratic, democratic, and delegative. Also, full-on comparison has not been asked. Brief description has been asked. All right. In the brief description also, we'll be explaining some of the differences, that what is the difference between all these three types. But let's briefly describe all these three types. All right. Autocratic, democratic, and delegative. Which one out of these do you think is the best form of leadership? Let me know in the chat section. Which one do you think is the best form of leadership? Or if you have to take a stand in the fame of okay, delegative and democratic, not autocratic. Nobody in favor of autocratic leadership here? All right. So see, the point that I'm going to make here is that, see, yes, depends on situation. Very right, Roshan. Yes, Nikhil, that's very right. Sunil, yes, that's right. This is what you have to talk about in the examination. Do describe all types of leaderships. Do describe their benefits and the challenges associated with them. In other words, do describe the pros and cons of all types of leaderships. Because if the name is democratic, that does not mean that it does not have any challenges. Yes, the challenges could be lesser, but then there will be some challenges. And if in the name it is autocratic, then it doesn't mean that it does not have any positive side to it. We see autocratic leaders all around the world. We see autocratic leaders in our family, in our organizations. And probably when you get selected, you will also have to be autocratic at times. So one thing to keep in mind is you're talking about leadership here. You're not talking about suppression. So you have to talk in a positive tone about all these three. Just give to the examiner their positive and negative sides. And if possible, back with an example. Strengthen your argument, strengthen your description with an example. So quickly, let me know in the chat section, how will you start this answer? Yes, Eminem, even I agree to that to some extent. Yes. So how will you start this answer? You'll have to type answers there. जयंता, आपको आंसर्स टाइप करने पड़ेंगे उधर. You will not be allowed to write. You will have to type your answers there. All right. So all of you just let me know how will you start this answer. The first one. As always, we write an introduction. You just cannot directly, give numbers. That this is autocratic, this is democratic, this is delegative. No, don't do that. Also, about leadership and then explaining each type. All right. Type the introduction for me. Till date, I've been taking just the prompts. Type the introduction for me. Nikhil and all others who are participating in this session, type the introduction. Or at least think about the important things that you can write, starting with definition of leadership. After Kurt Lewin, after that. All right. With the name of Kurt Lewin, then definition. That's right. That's right. Define leadership. Give the name of Kurt Lewin. What else can be there? We cannot have just 2 lines in our introduction. We need to have 3 to 5 lines in our introduction. So what will be the third line? Importance of leadership. You can talk about why leadership is important and how does it decide the future of an organization. So because it is important, hence we are studying this topic. Yes, that's right, Khushbu. Describe about leadership. So let's look at the introduction here. So leadership, we are basically defining this. Leadership is the ability to implement change by creating and communicating a vision to others. First of all, as a leader, you should be able to create a vision for your organization. Secondly, you should be able to communicate it better. Now, next line. Leadership is essential to a system's success. What is the system involved here? Leadership is essential to a system's success. Why have we used the word system? Because leaders are required in a group as well, in an organization as well, and for a nation as well. So for system, we are using 3 definitions. It could be a group, organization, or nation. And always, start at the micro level, go at the macro level. Start from the individual level, and individuals, they create groups or families, and then go at the macro level, whether nation or globe. So leadership is essential to a system success, group, organization, or nation, or global organizations. All right. Then do not write Kurt Lewin directly. Just say that he was a psychologist. He was a foundational psychologist. This term can be remembered, right? So if you use this term, foundational psychologist Kurt Lewin defined 3 major leadership styles. If before his name you're using this term, then the examiner will understand that you have probably read about Kurt Lewin. You've not crammed it. So add this there. Foundational psychologist Kurt Lewin defined 3 major leadership styles: autocratic, democratic, and laissez-faire. That is delegative. For delegative, we use the term laissez-faire as well. Each one of these comes with its advantages and challenges, so that the examiner knows. Why are we writing this line? So that the examiner understands that we are not taking a stand, or we do not have a bias towards a particular leadership style. We are just answering our question, and the answer is demanding us, a question is demanding us to describe, not to take a stand. So don't take a stand here. Also, these leadership styles are situational, and only the right fit can prove to be of the highest benefit. So the right fit has to be found based on the situation. These 3 styles, they can be discussed as follows. Yes, Khushbu, that's right. All right, Jayanta, that's good. All right. So now the answer is for 400 words. What approach will you take in your body part? If all of you know what is autocratic leadership, what is democratic and delegative leadership. All of you know about this. So here we are not just to, talk about content. We are about to talk about your presentation. So how will you answer? Let's say we are writing about autocratic. How will you write it? Whether you'll write it in a paragraph or points. If you're planning to write in points under autocratic, how many points will you write? Whether you'll write some example, pros, cons, or all these things, they will be included in your paragraph. Which approach are you planning to take? Yes, all right. Khushbu is planning to take the points approach. Yes. Other students, can you justify the leadership style, every leadership style in terms of paragraphs? Okay, Sunil will take the paragraph approach. Roshan, Meena will take the paragraph approach. Pros, cons, paragraph points. Okay. See, most of you, when you have read your management part of the syllabus, just answer this to me in yes or no. Have you read mostly in paragraphs or points? You've read in paragraphs, right? Or at least the sub-points have been told to you in paragraphs. Yes or no? आपने सब ने जो पढ़ाई की पैराग्राफ फॉर्मेट में की है? Yes, Jacqueline, that's right, paragraph. Yes. But do you think that if I write, let's say, 300 words in my body part, 1 para, 2 para, 3 para, will the examiner be motivated to award me marks for these for writing just 3 paragraphs? Will he be motivated? It doesn't matter how you have studied a topic. Now what matters is how you present it. So yes, less likely, the examiner is less likely to be motivated. So when you have to write in points, the better option is that you write in points here. So why am I saying that, divide it into pros and cons? Start with a definition of 1 to 2 lines, then give the rest of the explanation in pros, cons and examples in the form of pointers. That will make your presentation better, more polished, more clearer, and you will be able to deliver more. Probably you do not have a lot of content, but at least you can give more examples. When you have to write about autocratic leadership, there are so many historical leaders who were autocratic leaders, and even presently there are many autocratic leaders. So probably you can write more examples and the examiner will be interested to read your answer more as compared to somebody who's writing just in paragraphs. Yes, Khushbu, that's right. Make the job of examiner as simple as possible, as easy as possible, and he will be so happy, she will be so happy to award you marks. All right, take care of this thing in your management answers. In your philosophical answers also, which we'll be taking in the next 2 days, be very careful about how you answer. It's not necessary to write in paragraphs all the time. So let's move on from here. Let's begin with autocratic leadership. Define autocratic leadership, what it is. Autocratic leadership is also known as authoritarian or directive leadership. So let me just, define it for you. See, the first line has been made as a pointer. It has been written separately. When you write in points, the examiner feels that you know a lot. That's why you're writing in points. When you write in paragraph, the examiner feels that you probably are trying to hide the lack of your knowledge. Some questions like the one we took yesterday, for example, write a short note, they can be answered in para and points combined, but try to answer in points more. So yes, it is a type of style that sees direct control over the business or organization by an individual who oversees every little input and is the best sole decision maker. Is the sole decision maker, best is not there, which is usually made without consulting his fellow teammates or employees. Anything else you can write in autocratic leadership here? Does it define autocratic leadership? Yes, that's right. Without consulting his fellow teammates or employees. Now this definition also can be broken down into 2 parts. But the thing is, first line of every definition should define the concept clearly. First line should define it clearly, and if you have to explain it more, write more points. What are more points that you can write about autocratic leadership? Let me know in the chat section, what more points can you write about autocratic leadership? Direct control by an individual who oversees every little input and is the sole decision maker, which is usually made without consulting the fellow teammates or employees, without consulting. All right. What do you think? Can you add here? No inputs? There is a structured set of rewards and punishments. All right, and no inputs are taken here. Quick decision making, that's very right. So quick decision making, that will include something in the benefits. Just write that direct supervision is believed to be key in maintaining a successful environment and followership. Direct supervision is done. Since only a single individual is in charge of the decision making, she is heavily influenced by his or her ethics and values. If the person is patriarchal, the organization's culture will be pushed towards patriarchy. All right. So that is, does not like to innovate, lacks in innovation. Yes. There are autocratic leadership styles in places and organizations. Where does autocratic leadership take place? Which is the situation which demands autocratic leadership, where decision making has to be quick, where there is usually little or no room for error, or any error can prove dangerous and fatal. Secondly, this type of decision making or leadership is required where the decisions that have to be taken are quick decisions. All right, so that could be your point above this one, right above that, which Jackin has said, that quick decision making. All right, let's move on to the next part. You can again sum this up in lesser number of words. Let's move on to benefits. Faster decision making. If you have written faster decision making in the explanation, don't write it again, but segregate your points, that what will be you writing in the explanation, benefits and challenges. So faster decision making, quick crisis management, reduces employee stress. Employees don't have to be worried about what decision or what directive they have to give. The boss is doing, or the manager is taking care of everything. Direct communication is happening with every employee probably, and improves productivity and efficiency. Then challenges. You have to write that it improves productivity and efficiency. It's a leadership style. You cannot write against it or too much against it. You can write the challenges. High dependence of employees. Sometimes sycophancy might happen. There could be some employees which might try to woo the manager in their favor by using some office politics or organizational politics. They might want to become favorites of the manager or the leader. All right. So these things might happen in case of autocratic leadership. Then you have high dependence, threat of micromanagement. Every step of the employees or the people that is being looked after. Then lack of creativity. Obviously, there is no motivation for creativity. Then discouragement of employees in the long run, because nobody wants to be ruled by an autocratic leader. Then what are the examples? See, there are two examples, but again, when you talk about autocratic leadership, you will not talk about these people as just autocratic. You will also, you'll just say that these people like Bill Gates and Elon Musk, they have had a side of their personality which was autocratic, which is autocratic. One side of their personality is autocratic, and then you can mention some of the decisions as well. For example, in the case of Bill Gates and in the case of Elon Musk. So one side can be mentioned, but do not take a stand. Do not call a leader entirely autocratic there. Okay, that would be wrong. Autocratic leadership, although sounding intimidating and wrong, can have its perks just as much. It can have the rightful disadvantages. There is a centralization of power and decision making which helps a lot in times of crisis. So you can sum autocratic leadership on this note, or you can end even without summing up. That's up to you. That's up to you whether you have to sum one part or not, whether you have to conclude one part or not. Yes. Lack to see big picture from different perspective. That's right, Eminem. No suggestions by subordinates, lack motivation. Yes, Khushbu, that's right. Akash, that's right. Now let's move on to democratic leadership. How do you define democratic leadership? If you have to define it in one line, then move to the sub-point. What will be the points you will be writing about? Let me know in the chat section. Participative, yes. Democratic leadership, a style of participant leadership, is a leadership style in which, okay, there is some problem here. Just give me a minute. In which there is addition here. Democratic leadership is a leadership style in which group members take a more participative role in the decision-making process. Then say, how does it happen? Where does it happen? The group leader provides guidance and direction to maintain the goals and objectives being pursued. If everybody's opinions are being taken, doesn't mean that the organization does not have a clear goal, does not have a say. The final decision always lies with the leader. But here it is more participative. So the group leader provides guidance and direction to maintain the goals and objectives being pursued. That the goals are clear, they are maintained by the leader and the final leader himself. Then benefits. What are the benefits of democratic leadership and what are the challenges associated with democratic leadership? With autocratic leadership, we saw that it is fast decision making. There is no confusion. But we also saw that the employees get discouraged. So with democratic leadership, the employees are actually encouraged to take part. They feel that their voices are being heard. That adds to the motivation levels of employees. Less absenteeism is there. More participative discussions are there. But do you think democratic leadership has some challenges? What are the issues associated with democratic leadership? So yes, it's moving on its own. The benefits are embraces teamwork and collaboration. You feel happy with the teamwork and collaboration. You feel that it's your project you're working on. Then it encourages feedback for improvement. Then employs creativity. Yes, flexible working environment. Flexible working environment motivates employees. Employees' creativity and inventiveness increase as a result of teamwork. Absenteeism is lower among employees with a higher performance commitment. Employees' morale enhances. Great. Very good, Jakin. Employees' job satisfaction and sense of autonomy grow. Employees feel, or the people involved feel, that this is our battle, this is our project. For example, when Mahatma Gandhi, he guided the people of the nation to move towards freedom. Why could he unite the entire country and other people could not? Because every person would used to be feeling that we are a part of this journey. We are a part of freedom struggle. Yes, Jakin, that's right. The issue is that it is very time consuming. First of all, let's finish the benefits. Productivity increases because they care more. Then there are reduced workplace conflicts. Conflict is also a part of your syllabus. It's an indirect part of your syllabus. When we study management, we study conflict as well. When we study leadership, we study conflict resolution as well. How to resolve conflict. So reduced workplace conflict. You can use democratic leadership as a solution to solve conflict in your answers. Then what are the challenges? Time consuming. Look at this. We have written in the point format, but since we had just one challenge, probably, which was long. We had long challenges, so we have written long sentences here. We have not written the smaller words. The leader needs to think about how quickly decisions need to be made, who needs to be involved, and whether these people can agree in a reasonable amount of time. Quick decisions have to be made. So can they make those decisions in a reasonable amount of time? So the leader has to be very proactive. He has to schedule the meetings and he has to decide when the meetings end. If this does not happen, then this kind of leadership might make things worse instead of better. Let's say there are 10 people participating. 2 of them don't feel heard because either, they're not able to participate, they're introverts or whatever. The leader has to take care of everyone and that takes a lot of time. It can lead to communication failures, as I said, and uncompleted projects during unclear times. Do you hear political debates online or debates on news channels? It becomes so hard for the anchor to come to a solution, to come to a conclusion. People don't want to stop talking or stop putting their views there. So it can lead to communication failures. Then group members may not have the necessary knowledge or expertise to contribute to decision making. Let's say a meeting is called up, but in that meeting there are only 2 experts out of 10 who have the related expertise to conduct, to guide on that, to advise on that. Then what will you do with rest of the 8? So democratic leadership is not possible everywhere. Then lack of decision making due to volume of choices. Then loud minority override. Majority overrides the minority. That always happens in democratic leadership, though we are trying to come up with solutions for it. Now, can you cite any example of democratic leadership? I see a lot of you are not typing right now because these are, somewhat new points here. I understand these are a lot of points. But yes, see, yes, India, democratic leadership. But can you talk about a personality? We're not talking about democratic polity. Can we talk about some personality or some organization? See, with your management answers, you will always address your answers towards an organization because this is management. This is not polity or governance. In governance, what we do, we address all answers or all the situations towards the nation. In international relations, what we do, we address all our answers towards the globe or towards the world community or to international organizations. In management, we address it to organizations. Yes, that's right. Conflict may arise in the team if the opinions are different. You can talk about loud minority override. All right, any example you can talk about of democratic leadership, any personality? I've mentioned about him during these discussions. Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi is one of the best examples of democratic leadership. No wonder we are one of the world's biggest democracy, thanks to our forefathers like Mahatma Gandhi. So yes, examples of Mahatma Gandhi in all the positive situations, they fit very well. So use them in your answers. Our Prime Minister, okay. Any more examples? Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, yes. There is this, yesterday we were talking about public-private partnership projects. How many of you were there? I told you environmental impact assessment. That is not happening for many PPP projects, or it is very fast. Yes, Abraham Lincoln, Ratan Tata. That's right. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, very good. If you can give examples of sports leaders, go with them. In the process of environmental impact assessment, it also includes taking advice from people that do they want this project, or if they want a project, what changes do they want? So that is democratic leadership. Now moving on to delegative leadership. Explain this to me because there are a lot of confusions about delegative leadership. What is delegative leadership? Define this and talk about the points you will be writing in your answer. Define delegative leadership and what are the points you will be writing in your answer. All right, so there is less clarity around delegative leadership. Delegative leadership is when a manager or a leader gives his power or authority, he distributes his power or authority in the group. Yes, when authority is delegated to subordinates and leader comes in picture only when need arises. That's right, Sunil. Free leadership, all authority vested to subordinate. No name, that's right. They come only when there is need. That's right. Look at this definition here and look at the structure. More than the definition, look at the structure. If you follow the structure, you will be able to read more objectively and then present more objectively, and hence it will get you more marks. Laissez-faire leadership or free rein leadership. That's right. Delegative leadership referred to many as Laissez-faire leadership is a less intrusive style. Less intrusive style where a leader delegates tasks and initiatives to individual team members. Very raw definition. Let's explain this a little further. Delegative leaders often find success by guiding a project's start. Look at this. In democratic leadership, the leader is involved in decision making and guidance and discussions all through the process. In autocratic decision making, the leader is involved in everything. He's the one making decisions. All right. In delegative leadership, the leader comes to picture only at the start or when the need arises. Guiding a project start and allowing employees to take what they have learned and implement it into their work on their own. On their own or freely. Why is it considered less intrusive? Because it gives more control and power to the team. Next point. Most important point of delegative leadership is that it requires leaders to trust their employees and their skills. If a leader does not have faith in his or her employees and their skills, then delegative leadership is a failure. Then it will directly become autocratic leadership. Delegative leaders refrain from micromanaging tasks. Where did we listen to the word? Where did we hear about the word micromanagement? Where does micromanagement come into picture? That's right, Nikhil, that's right. Yes, Jacqueline, right answers. Where did we write the word that there is a threat of micromanagement or chances of micromanagement are high? We used it in autocratic leadership. Yes, right, Sunil. So here, delegative leaders, what they do? They don't micromanage. Benefits. What are the benefits of delegative leadership? All individuals of an organization grow. Everybody gets to act freely, and when you can act freely, you know the target date of completing a project. You can actually become a better person. You can become a better employee. You can polish your skills. All right. It allows team members to rely on their own judgment. You don't have to be guided by the clock or by somebody sitting in the office that whether you're completing today's work or not. Because in organizations, people are not school children, they're adults. So they deserve that respect of adult. So here they rely on their own judgment for the best action and strategies. This is excellent for building trust and open communication between employees. Thirdly, it shows that the organization is reputable for its actions and the accomplishments and skills of every person. Strengthens employee satisfaction. What is the challenge? People can get lazy because nobody is watching over them. If there are some lazy employees, they could be just, spending time in fun and leisure, and the other employees, they could be working very hard. So the laid-back attitude can be challenging for some employees to adapt to, making it essential to have open communication and familiarity between team members. What is the example of delegative leadership? You have the example of Intel. Intel, when it was founded, it is basically a giant, tech giant. So when it was founded, they resorted to delegated leadership. So due to this, all the top engineers of those times, they were attracted to work in Intel. Everybody wanted to work in Intel because they could go and start a project on their own, which they deemed fit. Nobody was guiding them. Nobody was after them. So they could innovate a lot. So they basically helped. They could attract highly skilled engineers in Intel. Yes, Apple. Any other examples? Span of control can be large. All right. Steve Jobs, very good. Sunil, that's a very creative answer. Higher order needs. We know the hierarchy of needs by Maslow. We know the hierarchy of needs, that triangle, that pyramid of needs by Maslow that he has given us. Lower order needs are your basic food, shelter, clothing. Basically, higher order needs, they are spiritual and intellectual needs. So these needs are satisfied. In such organizations, resignations are very low. Cases of employee depression, they are very low. Cases of office politics, they are very low. Self-actualization, yes, Khushbu, that's right. All right. Now, okay, General Electric. All right, Jackin. How will you conclude this answer? We started with the definition and explanation of leadership. We said that leadership type will depend on situation. And all leadership types, they come with their challenges and benefits. Secondly, we explained all the three types of leaderships. Akash, talk about McDonald's a little bit. See, don't write example of McDonald's. McDonald's was indulged in a legal battle for the past few years. So you were not getting the name McDonald's written on their, on whatever they were producing. Right now, they've started writing McDonald's again. Don't use any examples which are in a legal battle with Government of India or any state. All right, don't use such examples. How will you conclude this answer after talking about all the three leadership types? See, it's just for 400 words. We can just directly say that Lewin himself, he was in favor of democratic and delegative types of leadership, but take a neutral stand. That Lewin himself concluded democratic and delegative types of leadership to be more fruitful. However is the word for but. Each leadership style has unique characteristics, benefits, and potential. Very important. Potential to help grow an organization, and different types can prove to be beneficial in varied situations. You're taking a balanced stand, a neutral stand, by giving all the definitions, all the explanations in a very just and profound manner to the examiner. Yes, Khushbu, that's very right. You can conclude with that. But in the theory, in the Kurt Lewin's theory, he took the side of democratic and delegative leadership styles a bit more as compared to autocratic leadership. So you can talk about that. And then say that in real life situations, all three have their own benefits and challenges. Now moving to the second question. Can we write the name of system, name of Syrian leader, Gaddafi, an autocratic leader? See, you can write about leaders who do not have a very good name attached with them. For example, you can talk about Adolf Hitler as well. But I would still recommend that if you can talk about more positive qualities of autocratic leaders, a little balanced quality. All right. Yeah. All right. And it's not necessary that terrorist groups are resorting to autocratic leadership. You never know. They could be taking a democratic approach, but they are, against humanity. That's the problem. But inside their camps, they could be taking a very democratic approach as well. You never know. Okay. Or a delegated approach to keep the funny side on. So you never know. So keep your examples limited to management and political leaders or sports as much as possible. Do not talk about very negative examples. All right, Sunil. So let's move on from here. Management may take Sunil, I would still suggest that, prevalent perspective will matter. Okay. Khushbu, again, don't take a particular stand there. So let's move on to the next. If you're asked about some particular stand, then take that. Okay, yes, I hope I'm clear now. Management may take a number of actions to resolve conflict in the organization. Explain these actions. So, Again, a very straightforward question. How will you start this answer? Do you feel that this is a philosophical answer, or do you have some crude theory to write the content for this answer? Do you have any crude theory to write the content of this answer, or do you feel that it is a very philosophical answer? Define conflict. Yes, you can define conflict. And why does conflict arise? Is conflict specific to certain type of organizations, or conflict can arise anywhere? So see, human beings, we always have different perspectives. So conflict can arise anywhere, right or not? Yes, conflict can arise anywhere. Keep that in mind. But how we resolve conflict, that matters. And if an organization from time to time is able to resolve conflict amicably, then the faith of people in that organization grows with time. There could be an organization which just suspends people or fires people if they're in conflict with some other team members or with the senior leaders there. And there are other organizations which have amicable ways of resolving conflict. That is the type of actions we'll be talking about here. Yes, so take a very general and a very balanced approach in all your answers. So let's write about conflict first. Conflicts occurs at various levels. Various level means it can be at the individual level, between two employees working in an organization, between the individuals in a group, between multiple individuals. 4 or 5 people could be on one side and others could be on other side. That is between the groups in an organization, between individuals, between the individuals inside a group, and between groups also. One team of an organization could be in conflict with another team. Probably they don't respect each other, or they don't agree on their views. All right. So conflicts may involve deep-rooted moral or value differences, high stakes distributional questions, or can be about who dominates whom. So many times it is seen that the specialist of an organization, they feel that we are higher than the people who are in a generalist kind of job in the same organization. So there also conflicts occurs between two groups. Conflict is there between a group in an organization which is paid higher as compared to the other group. All right. So the other group could be involved in daily activities, probably making tea and coffee for people, and the first group could be working in making product for the organization. So there they could be at conflict. So conflict can be because of their differing views also. One of them could be highly religious, the other one could be non-religious or atheist. So any reason can be there, just mention it there. It may involve deep-rooted moral or value differences, high-stake distribution questions, or can be about who dominates whom. Conflict is perpetual. That means it will always exist, given of life, and is a phenomena which necessitates management. In your management answers, the best fodder that you get is with quotes. But don't start your answer with a quote and then just start writing your introduction. If you're starting your answer with a quote, amalgamate that quote with your answer. Just like this quote. Just look at this. In the words of Steve Goodyear, we don't get harmony when everybody sings the same note. Only notes that are different can harmonize. The same is true with people. Why have we used this quote here? Because above this, we are saying that conflict is perpetual. Conflict is perpetual, it will arise. And this can be explained more with the help of this quote. So quote is needed. Put the quote where it is needed. Start with the quote only when you can explain the quote, or at least elaborate the quote further. Yes, that's right. Mehak, then finally, you've talked here about a little positively about conflict, that conflict will be there and it is necessary also. What matters is how you handle conflict. And Kenneth Thomas and Rolf Killman developed 5 conflict resolution strategies that organization can use to handle conflict. They differ based on the degree of cooperativeness and assertiveness. This is very important. This theory is developed in kind of a graph, which is based on two factors, cooperativeness and assertiveness. If the manager is very assertive and non-cooperative, he will avoid the conflict, or he will try to be very authoritative. So these two are the factors for these theories. And the 5 conflict resolution are as following. Now what are these 5? You must have read about them. What are these 5 methods of conflict resolution? Even if you have not read about this theory, let me know in the chat section. As a manager, how can you resolve conflict? What will you do? Give me one word statements, give me one word terms. What can you do to resolve conflict? Yes, Khushbu, accommodating, avoiding, compromising, competing and collaborating. Very right. Others, for those who have not read it, preventive and curative measures. All right. Preventive measures to prevent conflict. How will you prevent conflict? By having a democratic decision making, by improving the culture of your organization. And curative measures, this is where the question is asking us. This is where the question, what the question is asking us. What will be curative measure? Yes, Jacan, mediation, arbitration, get both sides on the table. But according to these two, we have been given 5 methods based on cooperativeness and assertiveness. Yes, Akash, improving the level of communication. That's right. The first one is competing or confrontation. Let's say there are 2 juniors who are fighting, who are saying mean words to each other in the office. What will you do? Will you just ask them to keep quiet? Will you ask them or will you, warn them that I'll fire you if you keep doing this? That is competing. Or confrontation. It suppresses the conflict for some time, but it doesn't resolve it. So in this method, the manager goes into a conflict planning to win. The manager says that I am the authority. So assertiveness is high here, but cooperativeness or empathy, that is low. Low empathy, high assertiveness. This strategy works well when the manager is in a commanding position and has limited time and resources to resolve the conflict. There is no time, there is a deadline approaching. So the manager will use authority or competing or confrontation to avoid conflict or to resolve it. First of all, this method helps to achieve goals on time. But it leads to what? Negative emotions among those employees, such as anger, frustration, aggression and hostility. Doesn't help build good relationships. And it might happen that the employees don't want to work with such a manager. They may resign. So this might result in losing opportunities because the other party doesn't want to work anymore. There could be multiple resignations in an organization if the manager resorts to competing. Yes, he is adamant. All right, I'll take that request. No name. Yes, Akash, improving the level of communication. The second one, again, see, we defined it in one line. What you can do is just start this definition also in the form of points. Don't resort to this paragraph and pointers approach. Take the pointer approach directly. No problem with that. But see, this way, the examiner knows he has to read this much and then there are pointers. It will be very clear for the examiner to read what you have written. Had you taken the paragraph approach, it would have ended here. But the examiner might not be motivated to read it. Second, avoiding or repression of conflicts. The manager is not assertive or is withdrawn. Assertive bhi nahi hai, cooperative bhi nahi hai. First of all, managers just ignore or withdraw from the conflict. Characterized by low assertiveness and low empathy. Very important. Low assertiveness and low empathy, both. It is used when the discomfort of confrontation exceeds potential reward of resolution of the conflict. Manager feels uncomfortable in confronting the people, in resolving the conflict, and he feels that avoidance will benefit. It is often seen as passive and weak, but do you feel that avoidance or repression of conflicts, it can be resorted to in certain situations? An avoiding style, it should be used very sparingly, very few times, but should be used very intelligently. If you know that one of the employees is about to leave the job in a few days, and that's why he's being hostile, then you can just avoid the conflict, because next week that same employee will not be there in the organization. So you can stop yourself from wasting time. In certain situation, yes, it's wise to do that. So an avoiding style should be used sparingly and only when something is going to happen in future. Either the individuals will change, that is they will leave, or the situation will change. Okay, probably people involved or the situation, something has to change. For example, it's okay to avoid a conflict between co-workers if the manager knows one of them is going to quit his job in a few days. Now moving on to the third part. Do you have any examples, more examples, that when can you use this avoidance strategy? You cannot always confront the employees. You cannot always have time in an organization to bring them to the table to solve those conflicts. You will be very busy as a manager. So any other example you can think of here? Let me know in the chat section. In very personal matters, that's right. Probably the employees involved, employees who are in a conflict, they're probably married, or they were married earlier, or they're siblings, or they're related in some way or the other. So that is the point where you should avoid conflicts. Yes, you can, in the long run, ask them to avoid such situations in office, but you cannot indulge yourself in the situation. When we have to get some work done out of them. So Neil, don't you think this will appear to be very selfish? See, with all your answers, the examiner is judging your personality also. So the challenge about this phase 2 examination is not just about completing your answers. It's also about reflecting a good personality. All right. The third one is accommodating. Accommodating means it is a strategy where one party gives in to the wishes or demands of another. This may appear to be a gracious way to give in when one figures out he has been wrong about an argument. There are so many times when one party apologizes to the other, but the other party does not. This happens in two cases: when one person feels that I was wrong, or when one person feels that it is better to apologize. All right. But yes, it is effective when the other party also shows equal generosity. It is effective when the other party also shows equal generosity to maintain a cordial relationship or self-esteem of the first party. The first party who's apologizing should not feel belittled. Otherwise, it will be bad for the company. It may go down, which may be a negative aspect of this mode of conflict resolution. Also, like avoidance, it can also result in unresolved issues. Why unresolved issues can come up? Because probably one party who's probably weaker position wise in an organization has been apologizing. For example, you have this example here of Apple. Yes, Jacqueline, that's right. Avoidance can be used if it's but see, Jacqueline, here what we are doing is we are talking about our role as a manager, how managers can resolve conflict. So avoidance is something you have to give very, crucial examples will be required here. You cannot showcase an indifferent personality there. For example, 1996, Apple was facing bad financial results quarter after quarter. It bought the next computer company of ousted ex-Apple CEO Steve Jobs. They bought next computer company because they were having losses. Steve was brought back again. Steve Jobs actually created Apple, but he had to leave because of the shares. He did not have a say there. He did not have an ownership in Apple. So he was brought back in one way or the other by Apple, by the Apple company itself, in the hope to save the company. That is accommodating the employee once the company fired him to avoid disruption. So that was what? The company accommodated him. There was no apology involved, but they realized his importance. So he was brought back. Very important example here. Moving on. Collaborating. How can you collaborate? Bring them to the table. That is smoothing or diffusion of conflict. Bring them to the table for discussion. What do you think? Does it have more assertiveness or more empathy? This point. When you're collaborating, is more assertiveness involved or more empathy? High assertiveness, high empathy, or low assertiveness, low empathy? Win-win situation. Yes, Khushbu, that's right. Empathy, high empathy is involved. So collaborating is the method used when people are both assertive and cooperative. Only people who are assertive and cooperative, they can collaborate. A group may learn to allow each participant to contribute with the possibility of co-creating a shared solution that everybody can support. An attempt to balance power between two persons. And whenever we talk about balance, balance always happens between two equal people or two equal individuals. If one of them is stronger, balance cannot occur until one of them yields. A common ground is found and work is done together towards achieving a shared goal. Differences are suppressed and similarities, they are accentuated. It is a more time-consuming process, but yes, more beneficial. It should be adopted in resolving those conflicts in which stakes of parties in conflicts are substantial. That means both the employees, they are probably senior employees. They are both managers in their respective departments, and their positions and the conflict, it cannot be compromised. For example, Vodafone and Idea, they were once competitors in the telecom sector. They had a conflict of interest, but they came out with this new telecom company to maximize their customer base. Yes, it's a win-win situation. Yes. For collaborating, just remember, collaboration occurs between equals when both parties can benefit. So high assertiveness and high empathy, both are there. Yes, both have some significant impact. Let's come to the last part, then we'll be writing conclusion. Final one is compromising or containment of conflict. When do you compromise? When is a compromise made? When you know that a 100% solution is not possible. So both the parties, they get some of the benefit and some little losses as well. They compromise on certain parts and they get benefits on minute parts as well, little parts as well, okay? So compromising, yes. Lose-lose situation, no conclusion. Let's read about the let's get into the explanation of it. Compromising or containment of conflict. See, all the time resolution will not be possible. So compromise also can be resorted to as a solution. Just to make sure that similar mistakes are not repeated again. This is the middle of assertiveness and empathy. Mid-level of empathy and mid-level of assertiveness is there. A middle road is taken between opposing views. First of all, flexibility is important. Secondly, compromise, how it is reached? Through bargaining or mediation and arbitration. Participants are partially assertive and cooperative. All right. Everyone gives up a little bit of what they want and nobody gets everything. You cannot get everything when a compromise is happening. You get little bit of what you want. The perception of the best outcome when working by compromise is that which splits the difference. That means both the parties adjust a little. It usually gives the feeling of a win-win scenario for some time. For the benefits you're getting, you feel it's a win-win scenario where both parties feel that they gained something out of the conflict. For example, this example, read this out from our PDFs. It's about the Reliance Group, the conflict between Mr. Mukesh and Mr. Anil Ambani, which was resolved by their mother Kokila Ben. That can be taken. Do you know any other example of compromise? A project could not be completed on time because of technical issues. Because of technical issues, a project could not be completed on time. So whose fault it is? The technician? But who got the banter? The person who was leading the project. So there you have to compromise that yes, some goals have suffered, but in future we'll take care of this. Trust and transparency, mutual understanding, perception towards organizational goals. That's right. Yes, Khushbu, again, right. Integrative bargaining, very important term, Jakin. Yes, Pune Pact between Gandhiji and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. There was a compromise agreement. What will you write in your conclusion now? We talked about conflict and management of conflict. How conflict is managed. Will you give a way forward? Will you summarize? Or what will you write in your answer? Now, let me know in the chat section. First of all, conflict is not always bad, nor does it promote differences, provided we have a proper conflict resolution strategy to harmonize the differences. Conflicts can arise at any time. How an organization utilizes conflict resolution strategies depends on its conflict style and conflict resolution skills. As is popularly said, sometimes God doesn't send you into a conflict to win it. He sends you to end it. Explain on this. Don't end your answers on a quote for the examiner to understand. No. The aim must be that with every conflict resolution, the faith of individuals in an organization should grow stronger than before. Or the trust. It should grow stronger than before. So that's your way forward. That yes, strategy could be any, but it should strengthen the trust of people in that organization. And conflict is not necessarily bad. That is where we started. All right. So download the PDF from our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is present in the description. Thank you for today's discussion. We are left with 2 more live sessions. We take these sessions every day at 3 p.m. If you have any feedback regarding these sessions, then let us know at hello@edutap.co.in. If you, all right, I have taken that if we can give you a combined PDF, we'll do that. Also, all right, I'll make sure that happens ASAP. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet. There are a lot of strategies we keep on giving you from time to time for various exams. So subscribe, like this video, leave us with a comment there, and contact us on this number if you have any issues regarding anything. Okay, with regards to your life decisions regarding your career, anything, contact us on this number 8146-207-241. I'll see you tomorrow, and yes, you're very, very welcome. I'll see you tomorrow again, all of you, and be more prepared with every passing day. Keep working hard and all the very best.